and you're good to go.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you so much. And for all of you on the line, I love Thursday nights. I mean, I smile and feel happy through all the stories, like every time. It's just like it's all over again, this happiness that this business has brought. For me now, I've been with the Juice Plus company for 32 and a half years, and it is the stories that make it happen. It brings the emotional revenue, certainly, of the happiness of being part of other people's success, but it's also what creates and is the foundation for our business, because we identify with others, but we also are overjoyed for others. And, you know, for myself, there've been a lot of really great results that I didn't expect. You know, I wanted to feel better and look better so many years ago when I came across Juice Plus, and I've been on the Juice Plus products now over 28 years. So that's going on almost 30. And you forget sometimes some of the things that were a bother that tend to clear up. And as I was listening, I think it was Debbie that mentioned eyesight. I wore contacts and I was very nearsighted for many, many years, probably 30 years. And one day I forgot to put them in about maybe 10 years ago. And I thought, boy, things really are clear today. And I haven't needed them since. So, you know, there are just so many things that good nutrition does for the body. And I think that's the first thing for all of us always, is to realize you're going to hear so many different ways that Juice Plus expresses itself in a person's body. And basically what's happening is the body knows what to do if it gets the right input as far as healing itself and caring for itself. So as we describe our products to others, that's really the description, is the body is doing what it needs to do to live at the highest level of its physical existence if it gets the right input. So now if we talk about, and we've been meeting like this for some time and continue and hope to continue meeting like this for some time. And our focus in this segment of our presentation is to continually go over the very basic things that really create the foundation of our business and then create the growth that results in something that can be extremely powerful. You know, when I first came across this product and this company and this type of profession, this type of marketing, I'd had no idea the power of what it really could be. It was a very frightening time financially, and I was looking for that supplemental income to try to make ends meet. And then as I began to really learn it and understand it, then it really turned out to be just a powerful, massive business that could span the globe. So, you know, you want to not only realize that it's very simple, the product's very simple, it's very easy to understand. Our business, we want to keep really simple, but that simplicity turns into power. Now, if we look at ourselves and our business, and I think about myself in going about this, we're two things all the time. We're always the student and we're always the teacher. You learn it as you do it, and your sponsor or the person that comes behind you, you know, they become the guide, they become the support system, and then together we all become the support system to each other. One of the things I've found is that over this 32 years is I'm consistently learning. We're learning new ways to share our stories, to be more simple. We're learning new ways through technology to reach people more quickly, but the basics are always the same. But again, remember, you're always a student, you're always the teacher. And so anything that you can learn to do in this simple fashion, you can turn around and teach to someone else. So tonight I want to continue to talk about the very basics, and we'll focus in on events and building for events, because that is the basic. And our goal, of course, with this team that gathers every Thursday night and as it grows, is we want to continue to lay a strong foundation and real clear information as to how a person starts with our business and grows to what we call the comma club, meaning that you've got a comma in your check, okay? And that comma is that money that you're making is 1,000 or more without the title bonuses or all the bonuses that come along with it. The bonuses in our pay plan, in our compensation plan, are really to give people that extra money, that it's exciting, it's fun, it's to get a bonus. But you want to really grow an organization that creates a foundation of income that's very significant over time. And the bonuses are to really help you have that initial monies as you begin to grow up and position yourself through that pay plan. So let's just talk about, first of all, just very basic fundamentals. I think there are really 4 fundamentals that I've more or less identified over these years that are rather basic, and then from that we'll break that down tonight into just one of the fundamentals and one of the basic activities or skills, because our business is just a skill set, and there are not a lot of skills to learn, just a very few, but learning those, keeping it real simple, and then being able to teach others effectively creates duplication. Duplication is what pays. So let's talk about the 4 basic fundamentals that create the foundation for a strong business in our profession. One, and again, realize this, you are in business for yourself. You don't work for the Juice Plus company, you work from them. You can do this on a very part-time basis, or you can grow over time a business that spans the globe. So we're talking about this from an entrepreneur's standpoint, and also from you being a business owner. So the first fundamental would be self-responsibility. As an individual, I'm responsible for where I am and my decisions at any point in my life. That's personal, business-wise, anything. Your decisions shape your reality. So self-responsibility would be a very first strong fundamental. If you want results, you have to accept the responsibility for the outcome through the actions that you put in place. Now, the great thing about self-responsibility, though, is it gives you control. You're in control of your future. You're in control of your life, your future, your happiness, if you take total self-responsibility. And so self-responsibility means you're going to learn the activities and then hold yourself accountable as to at what level do you want to employ yourself to get the results. But you're in charge. And I think that's a very important thing to realize from the beginning, is you can design this to be whatever you choose it to be. The second fundamental would be self-determination. Determining that, it's this determining to do whatever it takes to get the desired results. And this is where passion shows up. You see people get, really impassioned by the power of the product. You see them get impassioned by the fact that they can take control of their financial lives. And so the determination that you have for consistent paying activity is going to result in the business that you design. So your determination is reflected in your daily method of operation. And we refer to this as the DMO. I guess it's because we like to condense things. The company talks about the QSCs and the SCs instead of calling them sales coordinators. We just condense it. So this is reflected in what we refer to as your DMO, or your daily method of operation. Now, your daily method of operation should consist of paying activities. There are activities that pay you, which means that that activity should result at some point in acquiring a customer or a new team member as you develop and you help others to develop. So you would want to be able to identify the paying activities from the busy work. A lot of times people are, they're getting ready to get ready, okay? They're going to organize their desk. They're going to get all the papers in place. But you want to really look at activities that pay. Now, if you've chosen strong paying activities and you do them consistently and you discipline yourself to really employ yourself at a high level, then you're going to really get great results. So your daily method of operation, if done consistently, will never let you down. Only you can let your daily method of operation down. And of course, it's through repetition that it happens. And if you're going to write anything down, you would want to write down repetition ensures integration. If you take an example of that, I know most people on this line probably drive a car. And when you first started driving a car, it was very daunting. You had to figure out when you were going to put on the brake, when you were going to turn the signal light on, and all of those things. But you repeated that often enough that when you get in a car today, you probably don't have to think of any of those things. Our brain's actually wired that way, so that if we consistently repeat something, there'll be a pattern that will develop, which will create an ease or a confidence to it. And confidence really in our business comes along from consistent repetition. And as we repeat, we get better and better and better. But also as we repeat, we become a model for those people who are part of our team that are watching the activity, so that they're going to learn it as well. The third fundamental would be self-motivation. You know, if you're going to be in business for yourself, there's got to be self-motivation. Our company is going to, you know, they produce an amazing product, they ship it, they pay, they do all those things for us, so we don't have to worry about manufacturing. We don't have to worry about, you know, how it's going to get to the general population. We just have to think about what is our story, what is our passion for telling it, and the motivation behind that. Where does it come from? So you might want to look to yourself and think, what is the driver for you? You know, what is it that you might say takes you to the phone or to the Zoom or to speak to the person that you're going to share the product and the business with? Because self-motivation is something that can be a powerful driving force if utilized correctly. So where does it come from? And unfortunately, too many people rely on outside motivation. They, you know, want something else to inspire them. And it's great if there are things that are inspiring, but then you also, the foundation comes in, is that inner motivation is really what drives a powerful business. So what I have found for myself is, of course, there are things in life that you want. There are things that you want for yourself, for your family, things that you want to do for others. But then also you have to look at how does that activity play out to really continue to inspire that motivation that you have discovered and it's already there. That really comes from your daily method of operation as well. I found that if I'm really consistent with the activities that pay, then I get results. If I get results, it's exciting. If people do well, if the business is growing, if the check goes up, that's motivating. It's very motivating. And so really employing yourself at a consistent level, at a consistent activity, and staying connected to your team is very important, because that also inspires and motivates as you see other people experiencing success as well. So those three things are really foundational: self-responsibility, self-determination, self-motivation, and these three equal what we call a fourth fundamental, which is self-functioning. At what level do you function? If I look throughout my business, there are people that function at $500 a month. There are people that function at $1,000. There are people that function at $3,000 a month, or $6,000, or 12, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60, $70,000 a month. The larger numbers don't happen overnight. There has to be a consistent activity in place of paying activities, but that is definitely achievable and happens over and over. So at what level do you employ yourself would be the question. Now, it doesn't mean you have to work around the clock 24 hours a day to reach really large business results, but it is going to be determined by your daily method of operation of consistent paying activities. So if we talk about paying activities, and there are not that many, it would be what? First of all, the story is foundational. The event that we just had with the stories, that is probably the most foundational paying activity that you could be involved in, because we all come together to support each other in the reality of what our product and our business has to offer. We're offering that option to as many people as possible. I've always looked at my business as if, people were just a long line stretched to the moon, and I'm going through that line. You're offering both product and business. Are you interested? No, move out of the way. You're interested? No, move out of the way. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't care. It just means that person is not ready to hear. And there may be a time when I'll circle back around and they are ready to hear. But what I'm doing is I'm telling the story and inviting people to hear the story at events to everyone that I possibly can reach. And in doing so, the ones that are ready are where the attention goes. Okay, so, and that's important because your time is really your most valuable commodity here, and it's limited. So you want to really look at the paying activities and how you're going to utilize your time around those. So telling the story, you might tell it one-on-one, and that's what we talked about last time, I think, or the time before last, was the stories. And so capturing that story early on is important, and we'll circle back around to that again as the weeks go on, because the basics never change. I look at 32 years, and 32 years ago, we had a rotary dial phone. There was no conference line. There was no three-way call. There was no anything in technology that we see today. But the basics I did then are the same basics I do today. I just have the luxury of creating the exposure so much faster because technology has brought us really everything at the touch of a button and the speed of light. Okay, if we look at all being able to connect each other and see each other on Zoom, it's so different. But then that's just the technique. The basic activity, though, is still the same. We're telling the story. We're telling the product story from our heart, the business story from our heart, with authenticity. And how are we doing that? We're doing that one-on-one. We're doing it in small groups. We're doing it over lunch, over dinner. We're doing it in events, some small, some large. And then, of course, when we're in normal times, we have large live events like conferences and things of that nature. And events are really the key to telling the story. So I look at everything in where you're sharing information or story time as an event. Our Monday night call, we share information and inspiration. That's an event to build for. This Thursday night call, again, beautiful stories, always, again, just making you want to smile, and you're so happy for every one of them. I love the stories. But that's a very powerful event to build for. The information that goes out in training, that's an event. Anything where you're telling the story or you're coming together to tell the story is an event. So let's just talk here in the next few minutes about events and how to really look at the activity that should surround an event so that you have success with it. Now, today, of course, in our world as we know it right now, every event for the most part is virtual. We do see some small gatherings in areas where people are beginning to open up and, might have 10 people at their house who are social distancing, but they're still telling the story. They're sharing the products. They're talking about how their businesses are growing. But for the most part, it's all virtual. So right now, and you would want to choose things that you really enjoy, but you would want to have some things that are foundational, that are non-negotiable, that you're going to consistently show up for and bring people to regardless. And you can, there are many to choose from, but I have always, for myself, I choose 3 to 4 things as far as events during the week that I'm going to be consistent with. Monday night call, of course, we've not missed a Monday night now in over 30 years. That's a very consistent, foundational, non-negotiable event because the whole team comes together. This Thursday call has become one that is non-negotiable for me. I'm going to be here on Thursday night. The events that we do once a month for our whole organization, there'll be one coming up this coming Tuesday. And so let's just talk about building for the one this coming Tuesday, referred to as Take Action Tuesdays. It's just for this organization. It brings you medical information with the doctors that come to our event once a month. And we've had great people who, again, with all of our speakers, they're sharing their time generously, okay? No one's paid to do it, okay? And then, of course, the trainers come to really bring information, inspiration, motivation, education. Our closing speaker for this particular one will be Brian Marsh from Australia, who has been very successful. He's a great speaker as well. And so you're gonna love him. And he's gonna talk about the obstacle is the way, okay? That sometimes the things that get in the way are the things that make you the strongest. But let's talk about preparing for that event and following up on that event. In the pre-event, and this is what's really, I think, maybe people don't realize, but it's very important, is that, you know, you can kind of, I guess if I take Facebook for an example, or email, there's a difference between announcing an event and really building for an event. When you announce an event, you send out flyer information, you may post it on Facebook, you might send emails, things of that nature. When you really build for an event, the pre-event activity should be some type of personal connection or invitation. And, you know, again, the announcing it sends out kind of a blanket of, you know, here it is, anybody who wants to join. But when you secure people for an event, that's really when you foundationally begin to have success. And if you can get consistent with that skill, it's very, very powerful and it pays you very well. So if you choose 3, 4, 5 people that you really want to have at that event, you're going to personally reach out to them. It might be a personal, voice text, because now there's emotion that they hear. We refer to it many times in different ways. One would be call, send, call. So there'll be a flyer out. We have the first one out already. You may have seen it, announcing the doctors on that event Tuesday evening. And that one hopefully is all you've already shared with people. But again, a great way to do that in the pre-event with a flyer is to call someone, tell them what it is that you feel excited about hearing, that you would like to invite them to join you, and that you're going to send them something that is going to tell them all about it. And then say, I'd really like to know what you think. And so you call them to let them know that it's coming. You then speak to them after it has. You more or less follow up on you call, send, call again. As you follow up, you do that the day of the event, the night before the event, the day of the event, because there's so many things coming at people all the time. It's really, you're helping them narrow their focus to participate. So you call them a week or so before, and here now we're right at 4 or 5 days before. You send information. You tell them you're going to send it so that you now have them waiting for it and paying attention. And then you call within 24 hours, sometimes within 24 hours, inviting and encouraging them to be with you. The event itself, of course, you want as many people there as possible. We hear all the time people say, oh, if I'd only had so-and-so, here are those doctors, they were so good and they were so powerful. So think about all the people that you love and care about that you really would like to share great nutritional information with, but also all the people that you know that you care about that you would want to participate in the event so that they get good business information foundation. And then the most valuable part after the event. So the pre-event and the post-event become huge as far as really developing the skill of utilizing the event properly. And the post-event is going to be the follow-up. And when you call someone afterwards, it's not, what did you think? It's, tell me what you liked about what you saw. What did you like about what you saw? Now, what you're doing there is you're helping to pre-frame to receive a positive return, a positive answer that you can build on. So what did you like about what you heard? And then from there, your goal, of course, is to either acquire a new customer or hopefully a new customer team member who's going to not only be on the product, but wants to participate in the business. And of course, in the training part of it, we always have stories, because stories are what people identify with. So I know I'm a little bit over time right now, but I really wanted us to really focus in on the power of events. And right now, of course, there are a lot of virtual events because that's where we are, okay? Don't feel like you have to be involved in every possible thing. It's like going to a cafeteria and all the food's beautiful, but you can't eat it all, okay? You have to choose the best parts. So you want to make sure that there are those things that are foundational, which would be the Monday night call, this Thursday night call, the monthly call, which of course will be this Tuesday, because
you were muted, David.
so anyway, you
There we go.
really want to look at those that are powerful for your teams, where people come together with strong stories and good, strong information that's educational as well as motivational. And there are a lot of those out there. So again, your paying activities are stories, you getting your story down to where it's really condensed so that you can say just enough about your story so that people are curious. Then it's events that you build for, the pre-event, the event itself, and the post-event. That's a skill set that becomes very, very valuable to you over time. And then choosing those events that are going to continue to be consistent. And when you do something consistently, if you hear my story, it'll always be the same. It's the same story for 32, 33 years, because the consistency of it gives something that makes it dependable for my team members. They can always count on exactly what they're going to hear. So when you help someone develop their story, you want to have a very shortened version right from the very beginning, and we'll go through that again in times to come, that short version of the story. Then next week, again, we will go through the compensation plan over time. You really want to get to where you feel really comfortable with it. You don't have to be comfortable with it in the beginning, because it's a very different way of thinking, and they pay you even if you don't understand it. But over time, running a powerful business, you want to become really comfortable with it. So we'll continue to go over that. Then we'll talk more about approaches and closes. What got you? What attracted you to the product and to the business is what's going to attract someone else. We've talked about events, and let's really work at the homework being to invite people to this coming Tuesday evening for that event, the Take Action Tuesday, and really put your efforts into as many people as possible. Make sure that you have the pre-event in place and the post-event. Another thing that works very well in pre-event is what we call relay calls. And so you call your front line, and they call their front line, and they call their front line. You can probably reach everybody on your team in 15 to 20 minutes to remind them of an event that you're excited about and want them to participate in. So we'll work really hard on that pre-event, being part of the event, and then of course post-event and follow up, and maybe check in with you all next Thursday on how that went. We'll go through again the compensation plan and really getting comfortable in that first 4 positions as you help people grow up to the comma club. And once you get to the comma club, you can make that number in front of the commas anything you want it to be as time goes on with a simple skill set in place. So I think we're a little bit over here, but hopefully that was beneficial to everyone. I want to thank all of the people, Arlita and Joe, and all our speakers today. Thank you so much for your stories and for being part of something that really makes a huge difference in the world for people. And you all are all great role models. So thank you again. And Carol, back to you.
Well, we thank you for all your advice and wisdom too, Cheryl. Thank you for doing this every Thursday. It's amazing.
I'm happy. It makes me smile. Okay, I love it. I love hearing it.
And Cheryl,
Y'all have a great night. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you on Tuesday night on Take Action Tuesday. Okay, bring a crowd. Fill a bus.
Thank you. Thank you.
Y'all were great.
Thanks so much, Cheryl. Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good
That's
Great
wonderful.
job.
Such great stories.
All these good
Wonderful
guys
training.
up too. That's great.
So
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Great
See you
job,
soon.
everyone.
Thank you, Arlita. That was great.
Oh, it was such a privilege. Good night.
All
Good
right.
night,
everybody.
Bye. Good night.
Good night,
night.
everyone. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Thank you.
code. You can hear me, Cheryl. We're hopping onto your code, your code from today.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.